It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this, the 14th day of February, 2022. Back in the studio today, folks, I'm sorry to say. But it's been a fun 3 weeks. And I only have, less than a month now until I go do it again. Not quite as much, but yeah. Anyway, back in the studio. Got home safe and sound last night. Very tiring day. Did find out a couple things about me, and one, I've often said on this show, I need to quit being such a tightwad and spend some money. I'm no longer gonna, when I fly, I'm gonna bite the bullet and go first class. I am too big and too fat to get crammed into a three-way seat with two other people. And it was terribly uncomfortable. The plane was full last night. I didn't like that either, but everybody was, of course, masked. I mean, you can't get on a plane without masking, but yeah, it was uncomfortable. So I'm going to get busy here this afternoon and go get my next flights that I've got booked and change them. Just go on and buy the seats for fat people. So that's a plan, at least. All right, guys, today is Valentine's Day. But first and foremost, today, remember to love yourselves, because you'll be so much better for your significant other if you do that. So do something nice for yourself. And then, of course, do something nice for the significant other. Or if you don't have one, do something nice for somebody in your family or for a friend. But let's love ourselves a little bit first. That's the most important thing for mental health reasons. That's my take on that. All right. A pretty busy day for cruise ships sailing from North American ports. Down in Charleston, we've got the Carnival Sunshine sailing. Port Canaveral, we've got Carnival Liberty. Independence of the Seas, Disney Dream, Carnival Elation. Port Everglades, we've got Vision of the Seas, Celebrity Silhouette. Miami, Carnival Conquest. Freedom of the Seas, Disney Magic, Seven Seas Explorer. In Tampa, Brilliance of the Seas, Celebrity Constellation. New Orleans, Disney Wonder. Galveston, Adventure of the Seas, and the Carnival Breeze. Los Angeles, Long Beach, Carnival Radiance. And Los Angeles, San Pedro, Navigator of the Seas. It's a pretty busy day for a Monday. Headlines, not a whole lot, but one pretty detailed story. Carnival Changes Smoking Ban. Redeployment books are now open, and Royal Caribbean crew news. And then we're going to talk about Miami Herald's expose on Cuba a little bit this morning. If you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast on my accessible blog, accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts regularly, like TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podchaser, Pandora, Stitcher, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and you're going to get the old fat travel guy. So, all right, I'll be back with today's news after a word from one of our network sponsors. And back with the news this morning, Carnival Cruise Line's health and safety webpage says that smoking is now allowed in the venue for those who are seated and actively paying. It's not permitted at the casino bar, interestingly enough, when the casino is closed or when the ship is refueling, which has always been the case. My biggest fault with the last Carnival ship that I sailed on, which was Carnival Sunrise, was how smoky the casino was. So personally, I'm sorry to see that put back on. However, it will help considerably that they don't allow smoking just at the bar in the casino. So, but there'll be some smoke now because they're allowing those that are gambling to smoke. But so be it. As continues to be the case, passengers must wear face masks in the casino unless they're actively smoking or drinking. So they can, if they in fact, they take this face mask down and smoke. So I guess we're gonna have to live with that. Masks are also required in all other indoor public areas of the ship unless eating or drinking. They're also required during the embarkation and debarkation process. So Carnival's not changing the masking policy yet, as others have done, but they are changing the smoking policy. All right, they've also opened the bookings for the 2 redeployment vessels from Jacksonville and Mobile. Carnival Spirit sails from Jacksonville after canceling cruises in Australia. Carnival Ecstasy sailing from Mobile instead of Jacksonville. Carnival Spirit, which is transiting from her current position in the United Arab Emirates, will begin operation from Jacksonville on March the 7th. Carnival Ecstasy will begin operations from Mobile with 4 and 5 and 10-day cruises starting on March the 5th through October 10th, after which she's going to leave the Carnival fleet. So if you want to sail Ecstasy, you need to book something between now and October 10th. That's another one I'm going to be looking at. I've never sailed on Ecstasy. I'm going to see if I can't find me a bargain along the way, maybe, and jump down to Mobile for it. Can even be a short one, a 4-day or even. So as long as I could be on the boat, it'll be nice. From Royal Caribbean, shore leave is now in the U.S. home ports, at least, is once again allowed for Royal Caribbean International crew. The cruise line announced resumption of crew shore leave programs in U.S. home ports starting February the 12th. That was 2 days ago. The shore leave tours will start with 100 crew members per ship on week 1, 150 on week 2. On week 3 onward, the crew will only need to sign up to the respective divisions to sign to a shore leave waiver. The crew who wishes to go out will need to sign up at the HR office and must wear KN95 masks when going out. In November of 2021, Royal Caribbean started the Fleet Free Flow pilot program, allowing independent shore leave for employees on 5 cruise ships sailing from U.S. ports. Back then, the pilot program started with 50 crew members from each ship being granted shore leave. However, due to the surge of COVID cases caused by Omicron variant, the program was put on hold. Other great news coming from Royal Caribbean is that the crew pub, which was previously closed due to the health situation on board, is now once again open from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. The crew gym is open 24 hours. The crew are allowed to use the guest gym from 9:30 p.m. to 1 a.m. Specialty restaurants are open for crew with previous reservations. Royal Caribbean also organizes bubble shore excursion tours for crew from the Caribbean, and they're also allowed to go out on Coco Cay. I've mentioned Cuba a couple times recently, and there's a detailed, long article published by the Miami Herald today And basically it says, at the height of the enthusiasm sparked by President Barack Obama's historic restoration of relations with Cuba, several cruise lines rushed to secure a piece of the island's untapped market under newly eased regulations promoting people-to-people engagement. The cruise companies knew that traveling to Cuba for tourism was illegal, so instead of sipping mojitos at Bandero Beach, America's going to Cuba, were supposed to participate in humanitarian and social impact initiatives to help Cubans gain independence from the state. But recent unsealed documents from related lawsuits filed in Miami federal courts shows that behind the scenes, the four major cruise lines, Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, MSC, made deals with Cuban Ministry of Tourism agencies to provide tourist services to their passengers, despite the long-standing U.S. embargo's ban on tourism, like beach excursions and trips to the cabaret. Carnival registered a subsidiary with the Cuban Chamber of Commerce in 2018 for the stated purpose of conducting commercial activities related to tourism, according to the documents. Royal Caribbean even made inquiries with the Cuban government law firm to secure permits and operate casinos in Cuba, and profited from reselling Cuban tourist visas to passengers at a 50% markup. Basically, the lawsuits that have been filed were filed that the cruise companies were doing something wrong, back then. Of course, the past administration shut all that back out again, and the cruise ships no longer could go to Cuba. So I'm not entirely sure how to take this. Number one, the cruise ships were getting by with something, admittedly. On the same token, I think it was good for the cruise ships to be able to go to Cuba. It was good to help Cuba. It was good for their economy. It was clearly good for the cruise lines. The amount of money taken in by the cruise lines was just unbelievable in those times. To me, it was just like a win-win situation. So I'm not entirely sure that discoloring, if you want to call it that, the whole issue is the right way to go. A lot of people feel that the whole embargo issue should be done with. Totally bring closure to the issue and allow regular trade to take over again. So that's what I would really like to see happen, is just totally do away with the embargo, establish relations. Things aren't like they were way back when Castro first was in power, and we're doing all this stuff behind the scenes with Russia, and we're in a different world today, folks. Good heavens. Now, will the cruise lines ever get back to the way they were? It would be lovely, but I'm not sure they can anymore, because they had the ships then, the smaller, older ships. They've been forced to get rid of them. So I don't know. The Cuba issue that's just a tough one. And I'm really surprised at this point, the Biden administration, and because there was so much opposition to what the Trump administration did when it came to Cuba, that I'm surprised they haven't done something, even if it's partial, to reestablish relations and reestablish the chance of doing business in Cuba. Admittedly, the cruise lines took advantage of the situation. They went around the law, the policy. Okay, so they did. I'm not sure it's going to make any difference with this lawsuit if it's, actually found against the cruise lines. It's all passed now. But it's still a lawsuit, and there's all kinds of documents and stuff, hearings that have gone on. Judge is probably going to make a real ruling on it soon. So, yeah, admittedly, it was a cruise ship going into Havana was not a full-time educational activity. So, that part is true. It was done. I didn't know that somebody like Royal Caribbean was selling visas to their passengers at 50% markup. That was one of the things that came out of it that I went, you're kidding. But, and of course, and then you got the political side of things, because basically you've got the Republicans saying that everything that the Democrats did was bad. So, I don't know. What can I say? Surprised there hasn't been more movement on it up to now. All right, let's go see who's in the chat room, who's fussing at me. Hot Air Tom is on his way north. He's actually going to stop in Jacksonville to see Nikki. I think that's cool as heck that some of our crew are getting together to socialize and meet each other. I know Katie's going to be getting with Gretchen and her family, and maybe Nikki might have been involved in that one too. So yeah, I think that's terrific that you guys are getting together on the outside world. Carol's with us. Hey, Carol, happy Valentine's Day to you too. Lizzie Lou is with us. Hi, Lizzie. Cindy's here. Amy's here. Traveling economy on the airlines these days is like being in a cattle car. I always try for premium economy if I can get it. Well, I am definitely going to do that, Amy. I tell you. And not only I didn't like being on a totally full plane, but I can't avoid that. But man, I could have avoided, had I done it originally, being stuffed in the 3-wide. So that was my big fat butt. I felt sorry for the lady next to me. Because no matter what, I was, infringing on her space. Katie's here. Hi, Katie. Gretchen's here. Chillie, you look tan and healthy. Chillie feels tan and healthy. Now, admittedly, the first 2 cruises, folks, I wasn't on my game. I definitely needed to get my sea legs back, needed to get my strength back, needed to be able to, my energy level back where it needs to be to work a cruise the way I work it, and to enjoy it at the same time. By the third one, by the Divina, I was pretty much back to feeling really good. So I was able to do more. I was able to enjoy more. I was able to get more work done. Just everything, than the first 2. And that, I'm not saying anything negative about the first 2. I still enjoyed every minute of it. But yeah, I was definitely there. I was a different Chillie on Divina than I was on Seashore and Freedom. So Nikki says, morning, everybody. Looking forward to meeting Hot Air Tom and Cindy. That's awesome. Lizzie says, my cleaning lady left our house a few hours ago. She just messaged to say she tested positive when she got home. She wasn't feeling well at my house. Uh-oh, that's not a good sign. Lizzie, please take a test They plan on one in about 4 days from now. And probably want to, tighten everything up around you in the meantime, just in case. Yeah, Gretchen says medical emergency made Kenneth head back to San Francisco. That actually they lost about it probably took about 8 hours total that they lost. They made up a lot of good time heading across. They were actually scheduled to land, I think they go into Honolulu tomorrow, and they were only going to be, I believe it was 3 hours late arriving in Honolulu, that's making up a pretty good chunk. So, but yeah, that was a the situation from medical emergency on board, and the cruise ship took care of it. It just hadn't been a situation where the only way to take care of it was to turn around and head back. So, everybody says thanks for the update, Gretchen. And it's awful about Lizzie. Yeah, that could be tough. So she messaged the kids were arriving back from school, so I'm trying to spray all services I can. Yeah, I mean, you gotta take all those crazy stuff. That's the world we live in anymore. Yeah, even you suspect the possibility, then take the steps just in case. Just in case it turns out bad, then you're way ahead. I'm so glad that they're allowing crew to enjoy shore leaves. It seems inhumane to never let them off the ship. Yeah, that was one of the things that I talked with a number of the crew on MSC. I mean, they've been months without being able to go ashore, and that's awful. So I'm hoping MSC follows suit, and they do the same thing and give these guys a break. I mean, they're working longer hours and harder to keep us all safe. The protocols are, that affects them as well as affects what they normally did for their jobs. So they've got added responsibilities, added time. Yeah, let's let them share a little of the wealth too. Let's let them be able to enjoy themselves and get a little freedom and go sit and have a cocktail at a no-name bar in Cozumel. Yeah. So yeah, all the crew lines need to get back to letting the crew off. So Emily's with us. She says, hello. Glad you made it back safe and sound. Thank you. Nikki says, giving Tom some directions on how to get to where she is early this afternoon. Hot air set. And I have to appreciate Hot Air checked with me yesterday to see if the weather in Virginia was bad. He had offered for me to meet up with them and ride along back to the confines of Virginia. But as it turned out, the weather, we had no trouble at all. Amanda drove down to Raleigh and picked me up. So, and another thing I'm going to do, folks, there's a lot of things from this cruise that I've never thought about, but I'm going to change. Again, personal space, personal policy. One is, I felt bad about Amanda driving. I had to be. My flight was 6 a.m. And so we left in the middle of the night, and she's out driving all night and back in again. That's not fair to her. So I'll probably not only fly the day before, I'll never fly on the day of a cruise again, ever, no matter what. But I'll go down to Raleigh or where I'm flying from Raleigh's going to be a lot of them. But go to Raleigh, find a decent place that I can park the car while I'm gone. Maybe it means that I need to stay overnight in Raleigh to get a place cheap. So I'll do it. Because there are hotels that will, keep your car, let you park your car there, that have, shuttles back and forth to the airport. So I'm going to research that a little bit better and not depend on somebody else to take me, that far to get on a plane and go enjoy myself. Anyway, that's going to be up soon. Sharon's with us. Hey, Sharon. Virgin and Disney. What about Virgin and Disney? Did I miss something? Anyway, Sharon is on Princess, Sky Princess, right, Sharon? Recently told Virgin and Disney might be the first to sell to, we're talking about Cuba. They might be the first to sell to Cuba because they didn't participate in what's mentioned in the lawsuits, then others to follow. That's an interesting thought, that they were not involved. So they could go into it with a clean record, so to speak. I mean, I think the lawsuits are probably a bunch of crap. But, I mean, let's face it, that, the regulations at the time, as much as we didn't like them, that's what they were. And the cruise lines were coming up with a way to get around them. I'm not faulting the cruise lines. Hell, if I was running the cruise lines and wanted to go to Cuba, I would have probably done the same thing. But it's time to let's grow up, people. Get rid of the embargo. Let's really try from a humanitarian standpoint to do it right with Cuba. Even though the long history of Cuba doing it wrong toward us, I'm not disputing that. The hook that the Trump administration used was that Cuba was supporting Brazil or one of those people we don't like. I don't remember, Brazil or somebody. I'm sorry. Let the State Department do their thing. Let's get established relations with these folks and see if we can't do something right for them and for us. My take again. But yeah, thank you. I hadn't thought about Virgin and Disney. That's a good idea, Sharon. So that would be a nice start. I might even do a Disney cruise if we went to Cuba. Boy, that would be cool. Minnie Mouse in Havana. I like it. Chillie, if you ever leave from Canaveral, let me know. Oh, that would be cool. Not only am I going to leave from Canaveral on the 13th of March, I'm going to be there on the night of the 12th. Tom, not Hot Air Tom. Hot Air John, Nanook of the North John, has got a wonderful place just south of Canaveral that's very reasonable. Family operation, nice hotel. I think he got an Uber over from Orlando to the hotel, and then the Ubers from there to the port and back. And it's a nice place to stay. It's reasonable. So I'll get some more information about that, Nikki. But yeah, I'm going to be down there I'll be flying in sometime. I don't remember the time of the flight, on the 12th. And sailing on the 13th. So that'd be cool. You guys could come. Yeah, Rogers still wants to kill me, I imagine. But that's okay. He can. Anyway, yeah, that would be wonderful. That'd be cool. I'd like that a lot. Cindy says, I never even drive to the port the day of, even though Port Canaveral is only 2.5 hours away. The only one I do is Tampa. Yeah, because we're very close to that port. And Tampa's also, that's on my wish list. I've never sailed out of Tampa, and that's going to be done too, sometime this year. When I'm telling you folks, I'm going to start bargain shopping now because I've booked the expensive cruises, and with the only exception maybe is sailing from Tampa to the group cruise in Europe, doing the transatlantic and then the 7-dayer before the group cruise. So I haven't 100% decided on that. I want to talk to Roger, the guy that's handling the group cruise, to see what I've got to do to tie into the same room, booking the front end of it. So we'll see. But beyond that, I'm going to start bargain shopping, folks. That's going to, it's going to be $1 amount for a whole lot of things, where I'm just going to look for really terrific bargains. And if it means a short-term cruise, if it means to sail tomorrow and I can get there, I'll do it. So we're going to be some of those too. But, there are, like the Ecstasy and sailing out of Tampa. Those are two things I want to do. If I can do them at a bargain, then that's 2 birds with 1 stone. So Lizzie says, I made up my mind. I'm retiring near a cruise port. Yeah, I've thought about that too. I need to get someplace closer to the action. If we ever get to the point, we were, before the pandemic hit, we were at the point of really starting to take steps on selling the house here. Most of you know the majority part of the farm I sold, and my sister and I sold. But we still have the house in 8 acres. So yeah, we were moving in the direction of getting that done. And then the pandemic hit, and then my health issues hit, and it just all got shuffled behind. And I'd like to really get back heading in that direction again, possibly. But I don't know if now my sister and my brother-in-law, they're, a couple years older, and if they even are inclined to head in that direction now. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, I need to be closer to the action. The other problem with close to the action, the only place I would go other than here, I mean, this is my home, so I've got that tie to this area. The only thing I'd want to do is get closer to my son and my grandkids, and that's out in Kentucky, and that's even further away from cruises. So I don't know. We'll have to make some decisions on that one of these days, but don't have to do that today. So Katie says, I'm an hour from Canaveral, so I can come wave to you too. Sweet. She cruises the day after me. Oh, that's nice, Katie. Sailing under the Sunshine Skyway Bridge out of Tampa is awesome. I'll be on Paradise November 22. I've heard that going under that bridge is just like going under the Bay Bridge in San Francisco. Those are 2 things you just have to do at some point in time in your cruise life, is sail under San Francisco Bay Bridge and sail under Sunshine Skyway Bridge. I have done neither and want to do both. Lizzie says, so Odyssey of Seas is doing transatlantic 22nd of April, 2023, if you want to do extended European stay. Yeah, well, got a possibility. I'm still playing with how I'm going to handle that one. So we'll see. So All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, I'm sorry I'm back home. No, I'm not. I'm just glad to be home. As much as I loved the last 3 weeks, and I did, folks, there were 3 wonderful cruises. I mean, I knew what Royal Caribbean was like. I had no idea what MSC was like, and I got nothing but good to say about MSC. Especially, and I didn't mention this today, disembarkation yesterday. 8 o'clock yesterday morning, I pick up the phone. I call the guest relations. I said, I'm ready to go. And they said, wheelchair will be at your cabin in 5 minutes. And it was. And it was wheelchair from cabin to curb. So obviously, and I'm not taking credit for this, folks, as much as I'd like to take credit for it. MSC changed their policy on dealing with handicapped folks and wheelchair folks on the fly from when I got on Seashore to when I got on and off of Davina and off of Seashore. Totally different circumstances. And good for us, those of us that have mobility issues. So I think the dude that I talked to he pulled the strings to do this, but man, what a difference it made on Davina getting curb to curb wheelchair service. First time it's ever happened to me on any cruise line where I was curb to curb. So awesome. So, all right, gonna wrap me up, guys. If you're new to this channel, welcome aboard. We do this every day, 6 days a week, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with travel and cruise industry news. Always, we appreciate thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so. You'll keep up with all the latest in the cruise world. We try to cover it all worldwide. So that's it for today. As always, guys, stay safe, stay healthy. I hope you're still wearing masks. I know a lot of you now are probably not going to have to. I think we might be premature on that yet, but stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. And hopefully one day soon, we'll all meet on the high seas. This is the old fat travel guy. Have a terrific day. See y'all tomorrow at 11 a.m. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.